Good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday. It is 1 o'clock. We are live. Welcome to Beyond the Buy Box. This afternoon, I am joined by Scott, who's that side of me. Hi, Scott. Welcome. Hello. Good to see you here. Do you know, I've actually just realized the second that we've gone live that we are like completely color coordinated to the brand. You know, I've dressed for the occasion. Your office is color code. It's like you absolutely knew and you totally made the effort.
Purple's my favorite color, so that's why everything's purple in here.
Purple. Purple is my husband's favorite color as well.
Yeah, it's a nice
Yeah,
color. Well,
yeah, the color of royalty. So there you go. That's what it is. Yeah, colors are looking very lush. Thanks, Cindy. Hi, everyone. Do you know what, Scott? Just before we came live, I'm like, let me log into all my comments, and I logged into one, and I didn't log into the other. I was too busy chatting away, as usual. So welcome.
I was literally just
Sorry.
thinking, where do I see the comments now? I found them, so it's okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, you've got them. So I have to look at them in about 6 different places. So let me go. Let's see where everyone else. So Matthew's joined us as well. Makes me want some Cadbury's. That's the vibe we were going for. Delicious yumminess. That's what we were going for, totally. I can see some of the comments, but I can't see all of them. So I don't know where we're actually streaming, to be perfectly honest. So let me see if I can try and find. I think there might be a rogue stream somewhere where I can't find who's saying what. So I can only see some of you. I can see Steve and I can see Cindy. Oh, I can see Noreen. Hi, David. Yeah, Steve already said, Rob, welcome. We'll just wait a few minutes before we dive into things, just to let the notifications go out. I haven't asked if you can see and hear us okay, but I assume you can because someone would have said something by now if that wasn't the case. So we've got Giles, Marion. I'm just trying to find this other screen. Oh, it is. I knew I wouldn't be able to find it. If as soon as I go live, I can never find it at that point. Right. Okay. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. Right. Okay. Well, Scott has kindly agreed to join us today. Scott, we met in person. Well, it feels like an age ago now, but it's not. It was a couple of months ago at the Hive Live in-person meet in Manchester. You came along with your business partner. You stayed for the networking, did the training day the next day, and it gave us a real opportunity. And again, guys, I can't emphasize enough, this is why these events are so important. You get a chance to have up close and personal conversations with people. And one of the conversations we had resulted in, what we're going to talk about today, finding out what you guys are doing and doing a little bit differently, which is one of the biggest pain points on Amazon that you have managed to find. I'm not going to claim it's not a full solution for, but it can certainly help maybe take some of the frustrations and pain away if you were to go ahead and do either something similar or find a way to be able to do what Scott has done. Right, found the stream. Yes. Rosie, hi. Joe. Oh, it was Joe that said about the Cadbury's. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. Now I found you. So and this is what prompted this conversation was finding out a little bit more about your business, networking. So first of all, I think you're the first person to come on outside of obviously the owners of the group that was at the in-person event. Tell us a little bit about that. Was it what you were expecting? Had you been to anything like that before? I know you enjoyed it and I know you got a lot of benefit from it, but yeah, just let everyone know if you can.
Well, first of all, I think, how grateful that I'm the first person to be on. I feel special now. The event was really good. I've been to a few events similar, not based around Amazon, but business events in general, and it was definitely on par with kind of something you'd naturally go to and pay for. It was well worth it. The contacts or the people I met there, even from the regular sellers to even you guys, Matthew, and even Johnny, it was well worth getting ideas. And even some of the ideas that we've had for some of the business, even the last 3 months, has come from that networking event and having continuous conversations with people. We then went to the NEC afterwards and we saw a few more sellers that were also at the event after that. So we had some conversations there as well. And obviously, after going to the event, you meet so many people. I've had so many friend requests on Facebook and conversations around the event. It's been nonstop since then. So yeah, it was really good.
It's crazy because I don't think a lot of people realize that. And the only reason I'm bringing it up now, one, because you were on here, and two, we're starting to plan the September event now anyway, which we're going to give a bit more notice for Hive members this time, because we said we were doing it, and then Christmas naturally gets in the way of the time of the year that it was. And we sort of like said, oh, by the way, in 2 weeks, guys, we're doing this. So we were overwhelmed, with how well we thought it went, unless somebody does, want to say that, and obviously any feedback fully welcome, of course. But we were really chuffed. But what's interesting as well is I remember you saying your business partner, you met him at a separate event. Was that right?
So actually, no, I've met Jono
Oh, I thought
for
it was. Oh, sorry, I'm
yeah,
missing. I'm
someone else.
missing it with someone else.
No, that's okay. No, me and Jono have known each other for we've always been in e-commerce for since 2020. I met Jono. I actually met him through a similar situation. He was doing YouTube videos, getting like 20 views a video, and I commented on one of his videos, and he gave me his number.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy. So it
yeah,
was networking, albeit not an in-person meeting. And again, this is what I sort of say, when you come and do these sort of things, you never know who you're going to end up talking to. You never know who's going to end up being, maybe more of a permanent fixture in your life, or someone that's going to impact your business, or something like that. So for those of you that have asked, it was a great success. Hopefully, hearing from Scott has validated that as well. And we are working on the next one. So, yeah, fingers crossed, we'll be getting details to that soon. So, Yaz says, got this on in the background while multitasking and working from home. We are most definitely the Amazon working from home, doing other stuff, prepping, listening in your car podcast of choice. So yeah, we absolutely know that. That's why Matthew was so keen to make sure that we converted this into a podcast, because not everyone wants to sit and watch, they want to listen while they're doing it. So yeah, always recommended to watch, or sorry, listen to Beyond the Buy Box. So any questions as we go along, guys, obviously pop them in the comments. But the reason Scott is here is he's kindly offered to come on and share a little bit about something that he's going to be doing differently. But before we go ahead and talk about this pain point on Amazon and what he's been able to do to help counteract it a little bit, is I wanted to kind of go through your kind of Amazon journey, how you got started, how you came into Amazon. Were you in business before? What were you doing? All of these different kind of aspects. So I don't know if you want to kind of run through your story and how you got involved on Amazon.
yeah. Well, hopefully we have enough time because it's quite a long story, but I'll do my best to not drag it out too much. Before I got into e-commerce at all, I was a plumber. So I didn't exactly give up a terrible job to do e-commerce, but it was what interested me more. The reason I left that and wanted to do e-commerce instead is because of the sheer amount of growth that you can see and the growth potential in a business in the industry that we are. So that's why I did that. When I first went into e-commerce, it wasn't actually Amazon, it was eBay. And we were doing what was hot at the time, which was 2019, 2020, which was eBay dropshipping, which everyone was doing at the time, and it just got really big. And obviously that model kind of changes a lot, and I wanted something more secure, which is why we looked at Amazon. And when we started, obviously we started out just like everyone else. We're doing retail arbitrage, going to Tesco's, Asda, doing stuff like that. Watching basic videos and just learning as you go, getting the printers, doing it from home. At this point, I was already actually self-employed, so I didn't really have to worry about having a job and managing it around that. What I did have to worry about is paying my bills, completely starting a new business, which was scary. So from retail arbitrage, we then did that up until the VAT threshold, which took about 2.5 months. And then we did wholesale from that point on with a mix of retail arbitrage until we realized it was fairly difficult when you go past the VAT threshold.
Yeah.
So we did wholesale from there on. And then that wholesale did pretty well for us until, prices started to increase rapidly about a year ago, and then everything just kind of started going a little bit worse. And we wanted to start looking for things to improve the business, which is when we obviously started to find your content, all the bundles and stuff like that, which we thought was amazing. And so we still have a few wholesale lines, but we are moving away from wholesale stuff and now just doing bundles completely, which I can't promote enough. They're amazing. And it's simpler as well, and it's less admin. So that's what I love, because I have to do the admin.
Yeah.
So that's great. So that's what we want to do future. We want to just do bundles. So yeah, but that obviously leaves a lot of stock. What we had a lot of period of time where there was so much stock that was processing. We were discontinuing hundreds of lines. We had lots of excess stock. We didn't know what to do with them, which then brought us onto our next issue of what we're going to do with all this rubbish that we've accumulated over the last year and a half.
Which absolutely is the biggest pain point that so many people have on Amazon. And I talk about that when it comes to excess stock, returns, dealing with all these different things, there is no kind of official, like, for someone who's been so involved. Hi, everyone that's joined, by the way, welcome. For someone that's been involved in, I hate saying this, like innovating some areas in the world of Amazon, especially in the UK, which I have. When you're an innovator, and you're the first one to do certain things, there aren't services that facilitate, because you're the first one to do it, and then eventually people catch up to you. I always talk about when I first started doing bundles and then teaching bundles, 50% of the people that wanted to do bundles probably didn't do bundles because they didn't want to prep themselves, because there was no prep centers at the time that was doing unique bundles. There was no people that were offering different types of services that facilitate that, but now there is. The industry is kind of caught up. But the one thing in the 7 years I've been selling on Amazon is nobody has really managed to find a foolproof, slick service system in place for Amazon returns and excess stock and gatings and things that, just generally bother the life out of us on Amazon. And you're the first person, I think, and don't get me wrong, I've seen I work with people that we send stock to. I work with people, in various different places. There are big companies that do it. You can work with a prep center to sell your excess stock. So I'm not saying solutions do not exist, but there's not really one kind of solid one that I know that anybody is not making money from. It's just clearance of stock, if that makes sense, getting out of your head. Whereas you've actually managed to create something that not only is it solving a problem, but you've managed to develop even for that you're making money out of as well. So we will come on to that a little bit in a moment, which I realized to just build it up at that time and then say, let's talk about something else. The one thing I wanted to the kind of cover, just before we jump into that, was you mentioned, obviously, you went from plumber to drop shipping to Amazon to retail arbitrage to online arbitrage to bundles. There's quite a few transitions over a 3 or 4 year period. Now, obviously, we had COVID in that period of time where obviously sales were mental and everything's like that. Was that something you were expecting? Was it natural to you? Was it something that challenged you, or are you the type of person that can transition into different things quite easily?
So I really like changing a lot. I'm a strong believer that I can't remember who says it. I think his name's James Sinclair. If you don't innovate, you evaporate.
I
So
like that one, but still that.
if you don't transition fast into other things, then you will be left behind. I do believe in that a lot. Another thing that I'm always looking for is that again, the same bloke talks about, is vertical integration, which is having multiple different businesses, small businesses that complement your main business.
Yeah.
So like what we've already done with what we're going to talk about in a minute, these little things that kind of help boost the cash flow in your main business that don't cause you any extra pain and might actually solve another issue, but is an add-on and an extra that benefits you completely. And so I'm a big believer in that. So sometimes what happens is we do these little add-ons to try and improve the business, and then they go so far where the business ends up changing and morphing into that anyway. So when we were doing retail arbitrage and wholesale at the same time, we thought of it as two separate things that were helping each other. And then we started to see the numbers come through, and we saw that wholesale for us outweighed retail arbitrage. Now that's not going to be the same story for everyone. Maybe I wasn't good enough at retail arbitrage, but for us it did work. So that's why we ended up morphing into that. And obviously we didn't keep retail arbitrage on the side, but if it was still making good money and it wasn't an extended effort, then we would have done. So as long as it didn't negatively impact the business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's the important thing. Is sometimes I see people that move into different areas, and I remember this at the time when I first started talking about unique bundles. You kind of get this label as, oh, couldn't cut it in the, in the other kind of area, but it's not about that. It's about weighing something up, looking at something and seeing time versus money. Is there more opportunity for this, in this particular area? I'm a big believer in stuff goes full circle anyway. I've come back around to reselling now anyway. So, things that you may have visited, there's a right time and a right place, for certain things. So I love that approach to it where, and, if anyone takes nothing from this today, which I'm sure they're going to take loads from it, please understand, do not listen to people that say moving or changing business models makes you flaky or you can't cut it or something like that. It's, in my opinion, one of the bravest things that you can do, or one of the scariest things that you can do. It's going to set you new challenges, because if you stay in the same old stagnant place for too long, you will. And I was talking about this to someone this morning. It's like it's dying a slow death, and you don't know it's happening until you're fatal, essentially. Whereas if you're constantly evolving, constantly moving, in particular, Scott, what you said, identifying an area, which I would say is probably one of my specialist things that I've done, especially over the last couple of years as well, is to be able to identify a main business and then build income streams around it. It's like a protective life jacket essentially around it, which when you do experience tough times or things don't go the way that you should, it helps offer a level of protection, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what is it? The rule of thumb is that you shouldn't have 60% over 60% of your income from a single source or something like that. That's a good bit. That's a general business rule. So
Yeah.
if more than 60% of your income comes from, let's say you just do wholesale and it's just Amazon and that's more than 60% of your income, or maybe you should do some online arbitrage. Maybe you should do some retail arbitrage just in case it doesn't work out with the wholesale. You have backups. So it's not always I don't think it's a bad thing at all. And when people stay in the same thing, you can become complacent quite easily because you're surrounded by the same people doing the same thing. And so
Yeah.
if there's no one pushing you to do anything different, then there's no competition. There's nothing motivating you.
Absolutely. You become outdated as well. People might think, oh, it's experience. I'm just gathering more experience. Well, no, you already know what you're doing. You're not pushing yourself. You're not challenging yourself. So, you have to constantly be in it to win it. Yes, absolutely. Of course. But at the same time, if you're not looking in different areas, if you're not exploring different things, if you do the same thing that you've always done, like perfect example, actually, and I think is really good, being a plumber is a fantastic job, a job that years and years ago, probably, I don't know, blue collar, people wouldn't ordinarily have looked at it. Yes, it's skilled, but people wouldn't have ordinarily looked, wow, that's a good career. Whereas I think it's flipped a little bit now. Every plumber I know is minted, because they like literally, how long do you have to wait to get a good plumber? And so I think the opportunity has flipped a little bit on that, but it's not particularly scalable unless you're prepared to have people work for you. And if you have people that work for you that are not very good or is not as diligent as you, which, let's face it, there's more chance of that happening, you make yourself vulnerable, right? You
That's
kind of got to make
exactly
a choice.
that's exactly why I stopped doing it. I mean, I weighed up my options, right? Because I was doing both at the same time for a period of time. Although I wasn't doing Amazon, I was doing eBay, so I could see the growth.
Yeah.
And with a job like that, although it was a good job, it's one of those jobs where you're directly trading your time for money.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, then you have basically one option to become rich. You have to build contracts with councils or build contracts with new build companies, right?
Yeah.
So you need big companies anyway. So it's very, very, very difficult to become majorly wealthy doing that. I mean, you look at like Plimlico. I mean, that bloke's ridiculous, but I mean, he's done very well. Drives around to more whatever it is, a pink Lamborghini. Uh, owns a plumbing company that he's just sold for hundreds of millions. But
Wow.
I mean, that's an exception.
Yes.
The general rule is that people stay, what, one man band, or you have just some guy and an apprentice, and you make it. You do all right. But I wanted more growth than that. I wanted more risk. It's not exciting enough.
No. Where does that ambition come from? Is it unique to you and your family? Do you come from an entrepreneurial family? Where does that drive come from? Because it's not something I know. It's good to have, sorry, it's usual for us to talk about and having that drive, but I don't know where mine comes from in my family. I don't have any entrepreneurs in my family. I still to this day don't know where mine comes from, apart from being a bit of a bossy boots and liking my own way. Apart from that, I don't know where it comes from. So I always like to ask that question.
Honestly, I'm the only person in my family, and even my distant family, that does anything like this.
Yeah.
For some reason, my risk tolerance is very high. Now that can be a I don't know, worrying thing, but it seems to have worked out okay so far. But my family do often worry about me, and kind of the stuff that I do. Um, but I find it really fun. Like, I didn't enjoy school when I was going through it. I didn't enjoy college, even though I was learning to be a plumber. I hated it. I didn't do very well at all. But now, I don't know, I was always made to feel really dumb when I was in school, actually, because I didn't enjoy anything I was doing at all.
Okay.
So I hated it. So when I found this and it was something that I enjoyed, I was taking information so quickly, and I didn't have to, like for your content, for example. I've watched your content once. I
Hmm.
watched it all the way through once, and I've never gone back to it. And that was enough for me to be able to do the bundles. And all right, okay, I don't do the PPC, but that was enough for me to do the bundles and do all the images and sort all that out, because I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed taking in the information, and when you enjoy something like that, you remember it. It's the same with all the, reprices, all the wholesalers, just everything that we do. Because I enjoy it, I take it in,
Yeah.
um, and it's just a lot different. So I guess I'm happy in my job as well, so that makes a difference.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? I find that so fascinating for someone that has told probably throughout a very, early part of their life, a very impressionable part of their life, you're no good, as in because you're not conforming to the system. And whereas as soon as you get out, and that's exactly what happened to me. So, academically, I did okay at school. I did better in more the creative stuff, art, drama, music, all of English, that type of thing. That's where I did particularly well. But anything like maths, I mean, you've seen my training. Sometimes I struggle with the calculator to add stuff up. But you go through a period of time. I got through. I did very well at school because talker, social whatever, anything like that. But I find it so fascinating that as soon as you come out of the system that is there, what is supposed to set you up for the rest of your life, you flourish. And I see that so many different times. As soon as you come out of the restraints of the system that's going to help you progress, people, that's when they actually flourish, because they actually enjoy it. And it's not that you're stupid, or it's not that you are not very good at learning. You just didn't want to go down that direction. So you're actually really smart.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's completely off topic, but the whole school system, I completely disagree with. But
Me too. I was
that's
having
just
this
my
conversation
opinion.
with someone yesterday.
Yeah,
I was, yeah, I hate it.
yeah, I think it's silly. I think it kind of is so outdated, and it's
Mm.
just it doesn't, like, if you think about how different everything's become over the last even 10 years, but they haven't updated the school system at the same pace that everyone else has been updated.
Oh yeah.
So and every single generation is just getting faster and faster, yet the school system stays exactly the same. It's almost setting you up to fail. It's just,
Mhm.
unless you adapt.
Well, I will share this on here. My husband asked me not to share it on social media because I was fuming yesterday. So I can share it on it because you guys will understand. Because I always get in trouble with my school for sharing stuff about what happens. So, like my kids, I always get like letters and, a shame in the newsletter. We understand some information's been shared on social media again, Natalie Cromie. But yeah, anyway, I always get that. But right. You're not going to believe this. Anyone is not going to believe this. Sorry, it is a bit off topic, but I've got to share this with you because if anyone's going to understand it, it'll be you guys. So my daughter has, I think, the entrepreneurial spirit. So she said to me, Mummy, can you get me this like stuff? She started making like these little potions, like love potions and I don't know, things like that. And she took some into school and her friends wanted some and they were like, can you make me one? And she was like, yeah, I'll make you one for £1. Kind of thing. Anyway, cut very long story short, she asked me to buy some more stuff because she had all these orders, pre-orders for these potions. And I can't believe I'm saying this. Anyway, the school found out about it. And they have told her that she cannot do it. Because she cannot like profit out of school and she has to have permission from like the diocese of whatever and to run an enterprise at school. She's 7. I'm like, what?
See, don't you think they should be promoting that?
Absolutely. Shouldn't someone turn around and say, wow, I mean, I'm not saying it's particularly, I know a lot of people have the selling, mine used to be selling cigarettes at school and things like that, but I know a lot of people have that kind of school story, but now to be actively blocked from doing it, what are they trying to promote here?
Well, if you think, right, so college is a lot better because, well, I can't speak for all colleges, but when I did plumbing at college, the people that teach you were people that did the trade, right? So my lecturer was a plumber for 40 years, expert, didn't get any better, right? He knew everything. Majority of teachers when they're in school, they've always been in the school system. I have friends that are teachers, they've never left the school system. So when someone comes along and they want to sell something, it's almost alien to them. They don't
Yeah,
understand it. They think it's against the rules. You can't be against the rules because they're stuck in the school system. But they
yeah,
should be congratulating that person on having a great idea. It's
I
just
know.
silly. It is
And
silly.
and it was blocked and then actually we're going to have to try and get permission. She's 7 years old. She's not going to come back and say, well, could you get permission, obviously. So it's, I don't know, I mean, part of me wanted to ring them up and and go down there and give them a kind of earful or whatever, but I sort of, yeah, I'm already on the radar, so I thought I better not cause kind of any more trouble. And her spirit is not going to be crushed by that. I can absolutely tell. But yeah, I can already see, I love these sort of topics. They promote engagement. It wasn't deliberate, but I can see here, look, literally loads of people. Richard said black market selling. I know she's 7. Can you imagine that conversation? And bless her, she's so rulesy as well. That's the thing about her. She hates the thought of getting in trouble. So I can only imagine how her little spirit would have been, crushed a little bit. I mean, we would never allow it to be crushed because I will literally, I just say, oh, we'll find a way, don't worry, we'll sell them to whoever kind of thing. And we'll just do it on the side anyway. But yeah, it just really annoyed me with that. So yeah.
If you think about it another way, what does it actually teach though? Like from telling her off for doing that, it teaches her not to think for herself. It
Mhm.
teaches her not to be spontaneous, not to be creative, not to be engaging with friends or new people that she would have, sold these things to. It teaches her not to be confident to sell these things
Yeah.
to other kids. It teaches her everything that you would want her to be taught.
I
So
know, I know. I literally, it scares the life out of me. I know, obviously, there are some scary things that are going on with the world, but that scares me the most. To be perfectly honest, the fact that um, the school system, and anyway, I can't go down that. I really can't go down that rabbit hole, because I know, or look at all these comments that are coming in. I know, but this is what being in like-minded company is about. If I was to have this conversation with anyone that wasn't in this sort of world, they would probably agree with them. Oh, it distracts her, she shouldn't be doing that at school. Or, most people would probably say, what's the harm? It's a bit grinchy, that type of thing. But I think it actively makes a lot of us angry, because we know, the system is outdated. It's, it's heading down that route. Anyway, I had to share that because we were kind of on that subject. So squash those dreams, become a cog. Exactly. That's what, who was it? Was it JP Morgan that said, why do you think I built all of these schools? Why did I have the philanthropy, to do it? It's to educate people to come and work, for the big businesses. That's why they built all the schools and the educations and the universities and things like that, to be able to get people to do it. So just a couple of comments. I know a lot have come in there. Sorry, Scott, go ahead.
That's right. I was going to say, and then they built universities for the sole purpose to inflate the economy. That was basically
well,
it.
Yeah. Actually, don't get me started on that one as well. Okay, all right. One more story and then that's it. I don't know if I said this before. We live near a university, and so there's a lot of students and everything around here. And I go to a local shop to do like my Vinted and everything like that. And one of the ladies that works behind there, we always chit chats. We see each other most days. And she'll say, I say, oh, well, how is it? I say, it's really quiet in here. Have the students gone home? She said, no, they're just on a little bit of a study break at the moment. But we have a lot of students coming in at the moment. And she said, I just can't cope with it at the moment. She said, this lot of students, this lot of intake have come in. She said, I don't know how they're going to cope in life. She said, I've already this year had 3 people ask me for a hug because they can't cope with everything that's going on and being in life. She said, I don't know these people, and they keep asking me, oh, can I have a hug, essentially, because they just can't cope with being in well, university is not the real world, but you know what I mean, away from home and things like that. But yeah, I could have turned this into a whole different podcast in the direction in which it's gone. So definitely. Chris says, same, my kid is the reason there is no selling policy now in our whole school district. He would sell all my samples, returns, and whatever he got his hands on. The kid walks around with a wad of cash. Brilliant. I love it. That might have just trumped your business idea, I'm afraid, Scott.
Yeah.
Brilliant. David said our school did grow £1 for this kind of thing. Could have spun it to a challenge to raise money for school. I know, exactly. I don't even think it's about the profiteering, though. I'm not sure. I'm not actually sure what it's about. Why they would block. I mean, she is at a faith school. They said it was, maybe connected to something. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But yeah, it's ridiculous. So lots of comments here about that. The school system do not want you to be an entrepreneur. They want you to be a slave in the system. Absolutely. When I worked in the USA, who said that? Oh, this is Simon. When I worked in the USA on construction site, the highest earner on the site was the laborer selling burritos in his break times. His wife made them, selling over 200 a day. There we go. There's always a side hustle to be had. Well, now, I did intend to ask a few other things, but we did go off on a little bit of a tangent there, but, closely kind of related. So bringing back to what we're here to discuss today. So one of the biggest pain points on Amazon, we've already alluded to it, is that excess stock, returns, buying a load of stock that you can't return, that you found out that now you're gated on, or it's hazmat, or there's some sort of Amazon blocker or something in the way to be able to do it. And most people, what happens is have a cupboard of shame, a shelf of shame, a corner of shame, whatever you want to do it. But ultimately, most people have a place wherever where this stuff just builds and builds and builds, and we don't want to deal with it because, like you say, it's generally thousands of pounds worth of stock that we feel that we can't sell, we can't do anything with, so we just like don't deal with it. I know that's what I do. You know, I've found a few different ways, and I sell them Vinted and eBay and a few other things, you know, but that's what most people do. You know, there's nothing special or innovative there. So talk us through how you came across the idea. So where did it all start? What kind of, you identified the problem presumably, and then unlike the rest of us, you know, actually did something about it.
So I would say the first time we realized it was a problem was like literally when we first started selling on Amazon. We bought some retail arbitrage stock. I think it was rebellious colors, hair color, or something like that. IP complaint on Amazon. Weren't selling loads at the time, so that was brilliant. We thought, oh, it's fine. We'll get it pulled back. We'll sell it on eBay. Put it on eBay. IP complaint on eBay. It got or a 0, sorry. And then we were like, okay, well, we've got nothing to do with this, so we just stuck it in the corner of the room for like 6 months and just tried to forget about it. As we started getting more and more wholesale stuff, we would get issues with some wholesale products where you know, we'd get complaints on something, or you know, we needed documentation that we couldn't get, so we had to hold stock back, and the pile started to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And we tried to just give stuff away, but a lot of the time you would get stuff that people wouldn't really need. So it's not always going to be shampoos and conditioners. Sometimes you'd get Hoover bags for a particular type of Hoover that no one uses anymore.
Yeah.
And you can't really give that stuff away. So we were throwing it away, which is just literally money down the drain at that point.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure everyone does here, or forgets about stock. We all throw stuff away all the time. As it started to get more, we wanted a solution. Again, going back to vertical integration, we wanted something that we could build a small business out of. And honestly, I can't remember how the idea came about, but I was talking. Oh no, I do remember actually. Sorry. So we had a pallet of stuff, a literal pallet of stock that we couldn't get rid of, and we were trying to sell it, and we were thinking, why is no one buying this pallet? It's got like £3,000 worth of stuff on it. And we're selling it for like 200 quid, and no one wants it.
Yeah.
And we were thinking, okay, well, maybe it's the stock, but it's not stock because people could use this stock. And although you can't sell it online, you'd be able to sell it in shops. You'd be able to sell it at car boot sales. You'd be able to sell it on Vinted if you had time, or whatever, or Etsy or something like that. You'd be able to sell it, just not where we want to sell it. It would take too much time for us to do it. And then we thought, we were kind of brainstorming. We were like, well, maybe it's not the stock, maybe it's the size. A lot of people can't take a pallet. But, you know, thinking back to when we moved to wholesale, one of the reasons we did it is because a lot of people can't take pallets, so they can't get as good prices. So obviously, the more stock you can take, the better prices you can get, the more competitive you can be. So if we reverse engineer that, not a lot of people can take pallets. Can we condense this down? And then so we were thinking, well, let's sell this stuff in box formation, and then we'll just sell it all together as a mystery box. And so that was our sprout of an idea, which we thought was really good. Then we had to develop it. We had to develop it then. So we didn't just want to sell one mystery box. We thought that might be a bit boring. We wanted to get a website built, and you can't have a website just for one thing. It would be terrible. So then we were trying to think of ideas. And then I went back to kind of like the Apple business model, where you have lots of different packages and you price them closely enough to where the next package doesn't seem so as expensive, and then people naturally spend more because they think they're getting better value for the bigger size, right?
That would totally work for me. That would get me hook, line, and sinker. I think most expensive, the best. I'll have that one.
Yeah, you know, over 85% of our customers are women.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's exactly how we think.
So we did that. So we started selling these. Well, we got the website built first. So we've now got, we came to the idea that we've got 5 size mystery boxes, going from a really small box from like that big to one of the massive Amazon boxes, you know, the 60 by 40 by 40 boxes, the biggest ones you could possibly send. So we've got that range of sizes. And then we started pressing the social medias, which got really, really good response because it is a really interesting topic. When you start talking about mystery boxes with makeup or kitchen utensils or toys inside, People just love it. They get interested. They want one. It's like a really hot topic, which obviously it would be to anyone that's watching. So we got a website built off the back of the social media response, even though we hadn't sold anything yet. And then I said to the website developer, I need this done by Thursday because we're launching. For the launch, we sent a box to an influencer that was that opened it for us on the day, and we launched and we sold we sold maybe 80 boxes on our first day.
Wow.
And my website guy had a proper tantrum. He said he was not happy with me, and then we had a really hard 4 or 5 days trying to fix all the problems, but it went really well. And for us, it's been an amazing solution for surplus stock. Really well.
Wow. And it's so, what I love about it, it's what I love about it, it's and hate about it, because I wish I'd thought of it. And I messaged you and I said, what an amazing idea. Like, I wish I'd thought of this. And I was like proper jealous I hadn't thought of it, because it's such a good solution. But it's capitalizing on what is so popular right now. Obviously, being a mother, having kids of certain age, but this appeals to me anyway as well. There is something very appealing psychology wise. I'd love to know a little bit more about it, why people love that mystery box, that element. I suppose it must be an element of a gamble, risk, excitement, the adrenaline, all those different types of things, and not knowing what you get. But you're coming through a bit of a generation that's been exposed to it. Like, I never understood. I now understand it. I didn't at the time. When I had my son, he used to watch when he was little, like 2 years old. Sorry, bad parenting alert, guys, here. He used to watch someone opening the eggs on YouTube, and the mystery thing. And, he used to buy we used to buy him these little Thomas the Tank Engine things that used to open up. And it's the mystery, it's the excitement of it. And of course, that is the sort of thing, most things you grow out of, but who doesn't love a surprise?
It's also like a legal gamble.
Yeah.
And I played a lot of games when I was growing up. Every single game I played had a gambling element into it. And I was 10 gambling on games, using my parents' money to buy things in game that were a complete gamble. And some
Yeah.
companies like Microsoft cottoned onto it and brought out, regulations and stuff like that. But mystery boxes technically is a gamble. Now,
Mhm.
every box we sell, we try our hardest. Sometimes we get it wrong. If we get complaints, we do our best to work with the customer, and we've sent out free boxes. Although I try not to promote that, because then you'll just have a slurry of customers asking you for free boxes. But
Mhm.
we try our best to make customers happy, and we will, if you've paid £20 for a box, we're going to put more than £20 worth of stuff in there,
Yeah.
because we can. I mean, if you factor in all the fees you would have spent sending it to Amazon, or selling it on Amazon, even so, with the fees, compared to the price you purchase for it, you can fit the same amount of value in it and not lose any money.
Yeah. It's crazy, because what is the chance that occasionally you get a load of surplus stock back and you hit a winner on eBay or something like that, and it's actually turns out it was more popular and it goes for more than you've anticipated? And I could count on probably one finger the amount of times that something like that has happened. The most of the time, like you said, going back, I had to pick up on this. What annoys me about this whole returns thing, you can't even give it away, right?
Yeah.
My only insistence, if I give the stuff away, someone's got to come and get it off me. They didn't turn up. It's free. I don't want it here. I sort of say to people, if you want this, come and get it. It's free. They don't. And then I'm like, are you going to come and get it? And then I end up chasing them. And then I end up saying, do you want me to drop it to you? And then I'm in a much worse position than I was before. But the fact that you've taken it and, it's crazy. I mean, yeah, you look like a really generous person a lot of the time. I do joke about that. Well, it's not a joke, it is true. You do look like a very generous person. But I find what really interesting is, and I wonder, Rosie's hit it there, better than the lottery, you win every time. How often do you buy yourself a surprise? Absolutely. But what you said there about gambling, I wonder, have you been doing it long enough, or do you see repeat custom? Do you
Yeah.
think there's, yeah. Do you think there's an area of addiction a little bit?
I don't think there's addiction to it.
Not like dangerous addiction, but do you think people get
think
addicted to the surprise a little bit?
so. We understood that the smaller boxes were pure fun.
Yeah.
The larger boxes are supposed to be for people to resell, and they have been.
Okay.
Now, whether they resell those products on Facebook Marketplace, whether they're doing them at car boot sales or whatever, I don't know. None of my business.
Yeah, of
But
course.
they are continuously buying them. We've seen a certain few customers that have bought multiple times. Now we've literally I don't mind giving you some numbers. So we launched 2.5 to 3 weeks ago. We've done about £4,000 in sales to date on the boxes alone, which was quite good. So I'm looking forward to a full month. Now obviously that's through a website, so there's only 1.8% fees on that, which is again very nice compared to eBay or Amazon. So that's done pretty well. The bigger boxes we obviously want to sell more of. If we can move more stock, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And if we are giving value to people and they're happy to buy more stock and they're making money as well, that would be amazing. That's our goal. That's what we want.
Mhm. Do you ever envisage at any time turning it into a service for other sellers?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely. What I'm really interested in doing is making category boxes. I know there's a lot of sellers that sell cosmetics. I think a cosmetics box would do really well, considering most of our customers are women anyway.
Yeah.
I think that would fly out the shelves. We can't do that currently because cosmetics aren't particularly large, right? So you can fit literally 3 things in a box to cover the cost of a tenner, which isn't very exciting. So we'd have to look at trying to make that work a little bit better. But I think a cosmetics box would be really nice. And to help other sellers with this problem as well, I think would just be amazing. I mean, Amazon give you basically nothing for your stock, and they miscategorize it and just liquidate it for nothing all the time.
Mm.
So they're basically useless. So you're then paying to get it back to your warehouse or your house. If you could just get it shipped somewhere the first time and then get paid for it, I think that'd be a much easier process. And if I'm the person that has to set that up, well, I'll take the challenge.
Absolutely. There is always, money to be made in innovation, especially solving a problem, which, like I said, I've been a seller for 7 years and I am very aware that there are people that run services and, particularly more so in the US and prep centers that do this. But it's all drip, drip, drip. If I want to get rid of stuff, I advertised on here, I got 500 crates I need gone. And yes, I'm happy to break them down a little bit and sell them in, groups of 100. But I've got to be honest, if someone offers me a deal for the lot, I'm going to take it. I want them gone. I don't want to sell them one at a time because we're making some changes in our warehouse. So I need the space, it's already, they're already factored into the business. And, yes, unfortunately, if we don't make any money, well, we're not making any money out of them. I want them gone. The space is more important. So it's definitely something that, it's going to bring even more opportunity. By your own admission, obviously, you've launched on the website, promoting it through socials, but there's a couple of other platforms potentially that you could expand it even further on that you haven't gone down the route of yet. So I know it's very early days, but if somebody offered me $4,000 for like the stuff that's in my warehouse, I would rip their arm off. I wouldn't even buy it. I would rip it off, give it to me, because it is such a, I mean, let's face it, who here in the comments does not have a corner of shame that they just don't know what to do with, and they will probably end up, chucking away or something like that. Matt says, I can confirm Amazon liquidations is rubbish. We had to liquidate 1% BSR item because it was in the wrong country. Brand new stock, which sold for €89, and we got 461 back for it. Yeah. And then you had to wait 90 days for the money. I like that. Richard said, definitely becoming a room of shame. Yeah, I've got a warehouse of shame. I know. I think the bigger you get, like the longer you've been doing it, not necessarily the bigger you get, the longer you've been. Okay, it's gradually going up. Sean says he's got a house of shame now. It's gradually going up. Oh, I like that. Rosie says Dragon's Den would cut their arm off to partner with you.
Oh, it's just that's a corporation that doesn't care about the end person at all. That's just all fake. Don't worry about that.
Do you know what? I watched the first episode of Dragon's Den for ages, like literally, and then I didn't realize The Apprentice and I haven't watched The Apprentice this year. It's the first I've chosen not to watch it. I mean, it is very entertaining, but I just can't deal with them. The older I get, I can't deal with the people that are on it. Yeah, it's the first one that I watched, and I think I used to love Dragon's Den until I got approached to go on Dragon's Den. Not as a dragon, I will point that out. Not as a dragon, but I got approached and I realized how scripted it is and how, it's not people. Yes, I'm sure there are people applying, obviously, but they were very much like I had to go to an audition. They wanted me to audition to go on it. So I was thinking, how fake is that?
No,
You
it's
know,
ridiculous.
yeah, had to go through an audition process to go on there. But yeah, I'm glad I didn't do it because it was when I was a lot less experienced, and I probably would have been one of those that made it look like a total fool of myself. Matt says Dragon's Den would be good promo though, just don't accept the offers. Good point. Who was it? Was it Just Eat or Hungry House went on one and they didn't accept the offer, but they grew really well?
How often are they wrong?
Yeah, I was so wrong all the time.
It's just it's one of the old things, isn't it? I mean, if you've got that much money, it's so easy to make money.
Sorry, Rosie. Rosie's like, oh, that's totally burst the bubble for me. Sorry.
It is completely. It's literally completely fake. That show. Well, not completely fake, but it is very scripted, and they make people feel like ashamed as well of themselves.
Yeah.
Like you can see it on their faces when they go in and get told no. It's awful.
Yeah, I did actually. The one that I watched the other day, which has Stephen Bartlett on, which I know a lot of people respect in this space, but I was actually I didn't watch all of it. I just watched this one particular one, and I caught it as I was channel surfing, and I was actually really disgusted how he spoke to the person that he was talking to about her idea. And I thought, yes, I know that you're incredibly successful in business, but politeness and it doesn't cost anything essentially. And as someone a bit like The Apprentice, I always say as well, was kind of went off of that a few years ago. It is absolutely not. I ran a business that did a lot of what they do in The Apprentice, trade shows, pitching clients, all of these different types of things. And the way that the response goes back and the way that they talk to people, absolutely not. It's not scary. Buyers are some of the most timid people in the world. I literally, you could blow them over essentially. Their buyers are generally really, really timid people, especially the lower level kind of buyers. And it's all portrayed that it's like you walk into this place and they ask you really hard questions and they do this and they do that. And I've been in that situation multiple times, and I can assure you they absolutely don't. And they're like, do you want a cup of tea? Like that. Might not buy anything, but yeah, that. Yeah. Be careful what you watch on TV, guys. Really doesn't work out the case. Sean said, what's a TV? I know you don't have a TV license. We're not going to go down that. We're not going to go down that route. So obviously it's quite, like I said, it's quite early on for this, but you're pushing it. You're literally all over my social media. So the plan is obviously, this is what I love. Think about this, guys. Identifying a problem in the business, not only solving that problem, but then turning it into what will become when you first, I mean, it's not like you started this a year ago, so I'm asking you to think back a really long time ago. But when you first started doing this, was it like, okay, returns, solving a problem, or did you see more potential to it?
I saw the potential. I tell you why I saw the potential, because we studied the social media analytics. So
Yeah.
we did videos on it, and we worked out the response to those videos versus response to normal videos. And this was long form YouTube videos. We then looked at other content. We saw there was absolutely loads of content. I have an idea that I want to talk about with you afterwards. Just remind me, or otherwise I'm going to forget it. Otherwise,
Oh, okay.
I've got one of those brains where I'll bury it somewhere deep.
There we go. Oh, everyone else is going to be, tell us.
So we studied. There was a lot of content about it in the USA. USA is always ahead of us. Always look
Yeah.
at the USA. There's nothing here. There was nothing here about it. So we started posting content here. It was being receptive really well. That's when we made the decision to do it. And then obviously we knew off the back of that it was going to do well. And I think social media is unbelievably important with new brands coming into the new world, you could say. I mean, absolutely love to see it. I love to see social media driven brands. I think it's amazing. I think it's much better than all these brands owned by massive corporations, and I think it's the future. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I noticed the first time that struck me, and I think it's really eye-opening when it does, is the first time that struck me was, and I talk about this, is I actually put this in my course, the unique bundle course. So you might remember this was when I heard Gary Vee talking about it around COVID, you know, when he was talking about how nowadays you and I can compete with Coca-Cola, basically. We have the ability to be able to do that. We have not necessarily the ability, the opportunity to be able to do it. We could potentially put ourselves, our product, our brand, our service, or whatever, in the same domain as Coca-Cola, which you wouldn't have been able to do 5 years ago, you know, 3 years ago, really. It's that driving of social media. So what's the plan moving forward, Scott? What is obviously you're going to continue to build and grow that, as well as the Amazon business, as well as everything else, and you know, presumably just continuing to sprout out from where you're going. But particular for the return side of things, you know, is there a certain period of time that you will look at it and sort of say, okay, now we need to accept stuff from other people, because you know you will only have a certain amount of stock, you can only get hands a certain amount of stock. Basically what I'm asking is, when should everyone contact you?
If anyone wants to sell me stock, you can contact me straight away. We can definitely look at the stuff you've got, and we can work out an arrangement for sure. We have enough space. We moved into a new warehouse in January, and we're trying to fill the space. So we that's not a problem for us. We have a warehouse full of crap, not a shelf. We just like sieving through it like a weird addiction.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
obviously, I will say, guys, please don't be offended if Scott says no to your stuff, because you obviously, this is a business model for you as well. So, you know, you're not going to be interested in 2 packs of gummy bears and things like that. It's going to have to tick, you know, certain boxes to be able to be of interest. So, yeah, don't be offended if Scott says no. What I was going to ask, actually, sorry, going back, when you're actually selling the mystery boxes, I know you talked about value, but is there any indication to the customer what they might get, or is it pure mystery?
We don't, but we should. We don't, but we should. We haven't got around to it because we're trying to work out how picky it will be. We don't want to say something and then people turn around and say they didn't get this, they didn't get that. We don't want to cause too many problems. So we do want to add the value aspect to it. We do always want to give a customer the value that they've paid. So if they paid if they paid £200, we can give them £200. Our actual goal when we pack them is we try to double it. So if someone pays, our biggest box is actually £180, we try and get 360 in value in it.
Yeah.
Sometimes that proves a little bit difficult. Sometimes it's really easy. Depends what we have. And our smallest one is £5 at the moment. You'll love what we're doing with that one. But our smallest one's £5 at the moment. And that's really easy to get £5 of value in a box. And shipping's free as well. So technically they've only paid £2.
That's crazy. I want one.
With that actual box, we're doing a social media push. So that box is technically free. So that box is £5. If you upload a TikTok on that box, we'll refund you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So there is lots going into this. There's lots of thought. There's lots of drive. There's lots of planning. you know, it's not just a case of we're throwing a few boxes together and see what's going on. You're seeing obviously such a massive growth and potential with this. There is a business that I want to start, which I'm not going to be able to, but I still don't want to talk about it because in my head, I still think I can still possibly do it, which is very much based around a passion of ours as a family. And, you know, I'm just not going to, and it does revolve around the mystery sort of thing. But yeah, I just don't think I'm going to have, you know, the realistic time, but I'm not ready to tell people yet because it means I don't want anyone to steal my idea, and it means that I'm officially giving up, and I'm can't say I can do it. So yeah, but yeah, I can see how immensely this stuff appeals to my kids. It, you know, it appeals to all ages, absolutely. You know, who doesn't love that surprise? Like I said.
Yeah.
Rosie said it's a great idea for a present to give a gift certificate for a mystery box or corporate gifts. Oh, yes, that's a good idea as well. Yeah, I love the gift certificate idea. Really love that.
I forgot to mention actually, we not only did we do the staggering prices, but we also I love subscriptions, as you like subscriptions as well, obviously. So we added subscriptions to the website. So if you subscribe, you get extra things like you get extra boxes, and then the top subscription gives you contact to us for like twice a month, just for any questions or anything you have. Now obviously I'm nowhere near. I'm not a mentor. I don't have time to be a mentor, but we had to add something to increase value to customers. If you want a mentor, Natalie's the person. So
oh, thank you. Although I am absolutely full at the moment, so yes, I really could find. Actually, can someone find a way to clone? Because then I would be super rich to be able to do that. If I could just clone myself like a million times, that would work really well. So yeah, no, I love that. The sub model, absolutely. So that is definitely something. And again, that's what people buy for gifts nowadays. My son got bought a sub for Christmas for one of his gifts, which is this sort of mystery sort of thing, but in a different area of the, can't say what it is because it's the business I want to do. But yeah, like I said, I've already established, not going to be able to do it. Now you're actually being sold stuff on here as well. Someone says, would you be interested in 76 or so large Yankee candles? So how can people best get in contact with you, Scott? What's the best way? You are going to get inundated after this as well. So I kind of feel a bit bad because I know what you're going to get offered.
You can contact me at sales@robertscotts.com, or you can message me on Facebook, or it's pretty simple. But email, I'll reply to the email the fastest. So it's sales@robertscotts.com. I'll put it in the chat for everyone.
Yes, absolutely. We'll make sure the contact details go in there. And like I said, you know, this wasn't a reason that you came on. You're really generous to come on and talk about it. You said you're not bothered if other people do it. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, you just wanted to come on and, you know, sort of talk a little bit more about and hopefully help people. Thank you. That's got to be Cindy. Is that Cindy? Oh, no, it's you. God, you did that quick. I didn't even notice it.
I've got it on the other screen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know everyone's saying about the OBS at the moment, definitely. But hi, Andre. Andre's joined us as well. Daniel, loads of people jumping on. Loads of people. I think, what do we think on this, guys? I think it's a really innovative, great idea. Like I said, not only to come up with the solution, that would have impressed me, you know, that in itself, but the fact that you are building you know, a business out of it. So we're just making this clear. You guys are making money out of this now. It's not just a case of clearing stock. You're actually making profit out of it. So which turned it on its head completely.
I think the reason we upset our website developer is because we paid him like £1,100 to the website, which I think is quite expensive. I can't remember who I was talking to that does WordPress in here. That said that might be expensive for what we got. But anyway, we made that back on the first day on launch, which I think is why he was upset.
Well,
problems.
I would have totally turned that testament, you know, that's testament to your skills, mate. Well done. Job well done.
What something really interesting, which I thought you might like, is when we first did our initial social media tests, YouTube was the best performer. And it wasn't until we continued pumping out the content. So we uploaded to all of them at the same time. So YouTube, Facebook, which links with Instagram, and then TikTok. YouTube was doing far better. YouTube seemed to decreased by 50% after about 2 or 3 weeks, and TikTok has blown up. I mean, on TikTok in the last 7 days, we've got 300,000 views. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's
ridiculous.
crazy, guys. Wow, congratulations. That's, I'm always the biggest fan of, and delivering praise and success where it's deserved, because this is, I think, when I saw it, like I said, it's not often I get that pang of got a bit of envy, a little bit of FOMO, a little bit of damn, I wish I'd thought of that. And I saw that, I had to tell you straight away, because I just thought it was so brilliant, to be able to capitalize on that. And like I said, I didn't even know. I thought it was just a way to get rid of returns, essentially, but to build upon it and start building that. Like I said, I hope you'll come back, at some point and tell us how much further it's progressed. And if anything else, we're happy to support that type of innovation. And feel free to post in the group, for people that I want people to be able to use you guys to help facilitate that issue on Amazon as much as possible. So yeah, feel free to network away and get in touch. Not many people get an open invite to be able to post in the group and do this and do that, but I know it's something that's genuinely going to help so many people. So yeah, I'm more than happy to go ahead and do that. Cindy has put your YouTube channels on there as well. So thank you for clarifying that actually as well, because I did mean to ask earlier, what are the socials and what is going well and what isn't going well and things like that. But presumably TikTok is going to be one of those that's going to be a target, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I thought YouTube was going to be the leader because it was getting the most views for ages. I mean, we were getting like on a short, we were getting like 2,000 to 4,000 views per video, which I thought was doing really well. But then like TikTok was dead for like 3 weeks. Like we were uploading loads and it was just getting 200 views, 300 views. And then literally just out of nowhere, TikTok was just like, oh, we're going to give you loads of views now. And like, so like the last week has just been really good, or like the last week and a half, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. So
yeah, and TikTok is one of those that the momentum will just keep building. I read a really interesting thing actually about YouTube Shorts not so long ago, because I'm a really bad YouTube guru, as in, if you're watching on YouTube, give us a like and a thumbs up and whatever you're supposed to do, and subscribe and everything like that. But I actually read somewhere that YouTube Shorts they're not worth anything, not worth the effort. They don't promote anything. They don't add subscribers. You can't sell on them. All of these different types of things that actually, it was a little bit like, why did YouTube do it? Because it doesn't, YouTube short views do not transcribe to subscribers. So I think a lot of people found that really quickly.
I think actually the only thing we have gained from the YouTube Shorts wasn't views. We thought it was going to convert to. YouTube tell you that if you do Shorts, it's going to convert to like 40% more views in your long form content, which we didn't find. Which we wanted. We upload like hour-long videos, right? Sort of like unboxing videos and stuff like that. I don't upload often. Don't expect me to. I'm not going to. I'm too busy. So, but I wanted that to convert so that we can, get the hours up on the YouTube and stuff like that. But we have actually seen quite a dramatic increase in subs on YouTube since we've been uploading the shorts. We've gained about 400.
Oh, really?
About 400 subs in a month.
Sorry, apologies. It may well be I got that wrong. It's that it doesn't convert to the views.
Yeah, that is terrible for that. It does nothing.
Yes, it may be that. Yes, I stand corrected.
They keep scrolling, and I mean, if you're in the mood to watch short form, it does make sense that you're not going to then choose to watch an hour-long video.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's no good for that at all, and it doesn't help your watch hours at all because they're only watching 20 seconds at a time and then moving on. So.
But something like the short form stuff presumably is going to be so valuable. Like TikTok, it's the hook, right? It's, you get 7 seconds to make an impression, and you will be able to do that really quickly with this type of product. So, who said that, Party? I'm going to be starting a YouTube for driving instructing, then slowly go. Do you know that worked really well, Party, on TikTok as well? People love that sort of stuff, if it's educational and, and you can do that. I've actually found, it's funny what you said about being interested. I've been really uninterested for a number of years. Could be due to being, a mum and all that type of thing anyway as well. because I'm going through a period of time of real strong ambition at the moment, which again, I think kids getting old and that type of thing. And someone mentioned a new social media platform, not social media, a new way to monetize content. And I've really been looking into it, and it's the first time in a really, really long time I've got interested in and excited about something new. So it's really interesting in what you've said, whereas I'm quite happy in my YouTube and, you know, the Facebook and everything like that. Skipped Instagram, not cool enough. Was always interested in TikTok, but didn't know if it was for me. Whereas this new thing that's kind of coming out, it kind of ticks all my boxes. And bring it back to what you said about really absorbing something and going on to the next video. And that's what I found myself going down the rabbit hole of, this particular you know, potential what could be a new revenue stream, which is obviously, it will be based around Amazon and everything like that as well. So you got to have that hook, right? You got to have something that fuels the interest to be able to do it.
You know what? I think Instagram as well. I know you said you skipped it there. I think for depending on what type of bundles you do, I think if you're doing kind of really pretty bundles where you're putting a lot of time and a lot of effort into it, I think you could convert Instagram into sales. Only
Oh
reason
yeah.
I say that is because my neighbor at my warehouse, there's only 2 warehouses, so we have to talk to each other. They have a company where they sell like bags for women and children, like baby bags and stuff like that. I never knew what it was, obviously. I've never seen it before in my life because why would I? I don't look up nappy bags at the weekends.
Yeah.
Um, but they get these bags in and they emboss names onto them. They have 900,000 Instagram followers, and they
Wow.
told me that like 3 days ago, and I nearly fell over when they told me that. And I mean, I just couldn't believe it. And they said that 90% of their sales come from Instagram.
Yeah, the Instagram, the Mrs. Hinch kind of, you know, sort of perfect life and perfect feel. You're absolutely
Mm.
right. If it's got the perfect living your best life, very pleasing aesthetic feel, absolutely right. Instagram is because it's just that wall of image visual stimulation
Yeah.
to be able to do it. So absolutely, I mean, one of the things that we've never personally done is capitalize sales on social media. I do think I miss my calling with a bit of live TikTok selling. You know, who knows, maybe in the future at some point. But yeah, if you can, that's what it's about. Longevity is about developing new sales channels, and, you know, looking where others are not. Amazon is always going to be around. I'm as confident as I can be about that. But as more you can diversify, the more you can build in those areas. Yeah, Pinterest, exactly the same. You know, in America, they sell a lot of bundles on Pinterest, and gather the interest for it.
Have you seen that new app, Whatnot?
No, I haven't. What's that?
Look out for that. It's on TikTok a lot. So what
Oh,
these sellers are doing is there's this new app called Whatnot, and you live stream and sell things live. So you basically make a manifest of what you're going to sell, and then you live stream and go through the manifest, and people bid on the item while you're live streaming.
it is
It's
crazy.
really interesting. It's really interesting.
That floats my boat. I have people doing that on my Facebook, but it's not like legit. It's like someone doing it out of their lounge, you know,
Yeah, this
probably
is
like
fully
really dodgy
legit.
goods.
This is fully legit set up with payments. I think I don't think there's any fees. I'm pretty sure it's feeless.
Wow, what a tip. What a tip. I'm going to look at that. It is my goal to be a live seller. That's exactly what I would love to
Yeah.
be able to do. You know, always miss my, like I said, I should have been a QVC, or not should have been, wanted to be a QVC seller, missed the boat, and now it's come around full circle. So yeah, exactly. It's definitely a bit of me for sure. Andre says you're showing up a lot on Facebook. Absolutely. I cannot move for your face on Facebook.
It gets good view Facebook gets good views. I mean, I think we haven't nowhere near if we had as much as TikTok, but if we upload a reel to Facebook, then I think it gets like 2 or 3,000 views per one. And I'm just by the way, I've never had TikTok before. So like I downloaded TikTok literally 3 weeks ago and then
Oh,
just
really?
like so like I was new to this, so I'm not really used to the I don't really know what I'm doing. So if I sound a bit weird when I talk about it, it's because I'm not used to it. I'm just I always
I
thought it was
think
a distraction. So now I'm using it
going
frequency.
in. And by the way, do you know what? Weirdly enough, I see you all over Facebook, but you've not hit my TikTok algo yet. So, but I always say this. So I deliberately avoid because I like watching TikTok. It very much appeals to me. Short form content, 30 seconds videos, which is ironic considering how much I talk. But so I actually don't watch any Amazon stuff on TikTok on my thing because I don't want it messing with my algorithm.
Yeah.
So I need to set up a new one, which it'll obviously attract. But yeah, it's funny. You're not on. You haven't hit that on yet. But I think it's sometimes better to go in to that sort of stuff with not a preconceived idea.
My reels have been absolutely taken over by Amazon groups. Yeah,
I
I
bet
hate
they
it
are.
so much. I hate it so much. It winds me up. I can't watch anything now. I can't even watch Instagram reels without.
Mhm.
I'm not going to name them, but
Yeah, we won't. We'll keep it clean, guys. We won't go down that route because I know so many of you guys feel exactly the same about that. Andrew says you will be a natural and whatnot. Thank you. Mariana says, how do you call those new apps? Whatnot, I think it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
Whatnot with Natalie Cromie. What
I
nat?
think I think they're running a promotion at the moment for sellers as well, where it's like if you sell £50 worth of goods, they'll match you. So they'll give you like an extra
Mhm.
£50, something like that. I'm not promoting them. I've not used it. I've just seen other really small resellers on social media use it, and it seems to be working well for them. It may not sell for the most, but it seems to sell quite fast. And
Yeah.
I think the price that you sell it for is plus shipping as well, so you don't have to work it out.
Yeah, love it. Love finding a new medium to be able to do it. I mean, sometimes you can't do everything though, guys. Always be aware of that. I particularly have gelled very well with vintage. That's the one I particularly like. It's the one it's so simple to be perfectly honest, but you can't do everything. So you've got to work with what works for you. Scott, thank you so much for joining us. I know how busy you are, so I don't want to keep you too much longer. So thank you so much for joining us. I think you'll all agree it's been a little bit of a ray of sunshine actually to come on and talk about something so different, which at the same time facilitates something that could absolutely be a game changer for a lot of Amazon sellers, whether you choose to do it yourself, whether or not you want somebody to like I said, it's very early stages for you anyway as well. So if you are interested in passing some returns to Scott, drop him a message. Cindy's put all of the details in there. Thank you, Cindy. Really appreciate that. But Scott, promise you'll come back in a few months or so and update us and tell us all about how it's gone. I'd imagine it's just going to absolutely explode for you. I mean, it has already, but I imagine it's going to move pretty quick.
Yeah, I hope so. And if I don't come back, I suppose I'll see everyone at the next event in, was it September? Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
yes, September. I haven't worked out the dates or anything like that. So yeah, Scott will be there. You heard it here first. He will be there. So if you want to meet him, that's the best chance to do it. So thanks, Rosie. Really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Oh, Andrew says you need to apply to join to whatnot. So it could be a good time to do it, guys. Thanks, Andrew. Really appreciate that. So I will see you guys next week. Thanks for your comments. If you're watching on YouTube on the replay, do the usual. Give us a like, drop a comment. Subscribe. What else are you supposed to do? Yeah, I think that's it. So please make sure you go ahead and do that. It just means you get notifications either when we drop new videos. Next week, I'm going to be joined by Emma Humphreys, going to be joining us next week. And sorry, that's awful. Emma is going to be talking us through what it's like to start a new prep center in 2024. So that's going to be a really interesting subject, especially when we are hearing so much about prep centers leaving. But I'm a big fan of that, guys. When everyone else is going one way, you go the other. So yeah, that's going to be a really interesting conversation. So 1:00 next week, Emma's going to be joining me and we will dive into that in more detail. So Scott, once again, thank you very much. Best of luck with it all. Can't wait to hear about the progress. And yeah, follow him on TikTok and wherever you need to. All right. See you later, guys. Thank you.